Disco dominated the charts in the late 70s, and then in a blink, poof, it was gone. Many of the artists that rode the trend went out with it. One who did not, Donna Summer. Welcome to Trippin' Up. My name's Phil Yale, and with me, of course, it's Tripp Rogers. Tripp, welcome back.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Phil. And listen, I'm excited. I'm excited.
This
We're
is
talking Donna Summer. Love it.
talking Donna Summer. We're talking disco, not necessarily one of my favorite subjects, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Tripping Up, this is a pop music trivia challenge where my goal is to trip up, trip, and we invite you to play along. I compiled information primarily using Google Gemini. They cited Billboard Hot 100 historical information and other chart sites. And I found 14 songs by Donna Summer that reached the top 10, including 4 number ones. And what made her run so incredible, while we tend to associate her with the 1970s disco songs, she had 5 of these hits that came out in 1980 or later. Tripp, I'm looking for 10 of her 14 top 10 hits on the Hot 100. Do you accept the challenge?
Oh, most definitely. And before we start, Phil, there was a great special on HBO Max about Donna Summer that was done by her daughter and her husband and her late husband. And I recommend it. It was really, really good. I got some insights on Donna I did not have.
There you go, with additional information. And as we now start tripping with 10 of Donna Summer's top 14 Hot 100 hits, Tripp, fire away when you are ready.
All right. Well, obviously, the biggest songs that she had, and this was in 79, where songs are back to back, Bad Girls and Hot Stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those were two of her biggest hits, and they followed each other on the charts.
And real quick, though, Hot Stuff, I just wanted to point out, won a Grammy Award for the Best Female Rock Vocal Performance as well. Okay.
All right. No More Tears with Barbara Streisand. Enough is enough.
It is indeed on the list, and that is the first all-female duet to ever reach number 1 on the Hot 100. So you've already got 3.
Love to Love You Baby, her first hit.
That peaked, according to this information, at number 2 back in 1976. I didn't know that until getting ready for this trip. That song had a full 17-minute version on the album.
Yeah.
Sort of like In-A-Gadda Vida. It took up the whole side of an album.
Phil, remember something during and this was really in the disco era. Producers would create these longer tracks, and they would go much, much longer. And again, you do an album side, but then disco records were, usually it was 45s. Disco records were the big ones, and they would take up a side because, again, you would play them at a disco, and those LPs were better than 45s, which tended to the thing called Q burn. Okay. You said they were after there were some after the 80s. There was The Wanderer.
Very good. That was indeed right at 1980. It peaked at number 3.
She Works Hard for the Money.
Also peaked at number 3. That was in 1983. I didn't know this. That song was inspired by a bathroom attendant that Donna Summer saw working. So the title now kind of makes sense. Go ahead.
This Time I Know It's For Real, which was her last big hit, and it's one of my favorites.
Absolutely right. That was in 1989. That peaked at number 3.
Okay, we got to go back to the 70s. I think I've taken care of the 80s songs.
She did have another one in 1980 that peaked at number 4, and one in 82 that peaked at number 10.
Love's on the Trigger, something to that effect.
Yeah, it's called Love Is in Control, Finger on the Trigger. That's a song from 1982.
Did that song. I hated that. That's why I couldn't think of I just that's what popped
You
in.
just didn't want to think about it. That's what it was.
No, Donna Summer, Disco, Casablanca records associated with it. Casablanca really upset her when they released. She had written a song. This was the first time she had really written a song, and they rushed out No More Tears, Enough is Enough, and it killed that song, which of course I can't think of right now. But that's why Donna Summer left Casablanca and went with Geffen Records. And it was also, she did transition to a certain extent because she was able to have some hits in the early 1980s, but it was not it was not the big explosion that she would have, or that she had in the 70s. And I'm really trying to think of that song that meant so much to her, and I guess it didn't mean much to me. I'm only kidding. They're all good. I'm going back to them. I said 76 was her first hit, and I'm going back to I Love You didn't make the top 10.
No, it peaked at number 14. You're correct.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite Donna Summer songs.
How about if I quickly go what you did come up with? From 79, Bad Girls and Hot Stuff and No More Tears. That's the one with Barbra Streisand. And 76, Love to Love You Baby. From 1980, The Wanderer. From 83, She Works Hard for the Money. From 1989, This Time I Know It's For Real. And I got a hint for you, Brooklyn Dreams.
Oh yeah, yeah, the song she did with Brooklyn Dreams. I'm picturing the song as I like. Heaven Knows.
Heaven Knows. Very good. And Tripp, that was the B-side to another song that actually peaked at number 1. It was her first number 1 hit.
I should know this. I should know.
It was a cover of a song.
Oh, all right. Song that popped up, I forgot, and I meant to mention Last Dance.
That came out in 1978. It won the Academy Award for the Best Original Song. It was from the film Thank God It's Friday. Peaked at number 3. So yeah. I think you've already got 10, but let's just keep on going. There is that number 1 song from 1978 that was the A side.
Of Heaven Knows.
Has one of the most nonsensical lyrical lines in all of pop music, exposing a dessert to inclement weather.
MacArthur Park.
Left the cake out in the rain.
Well, the thing about MacArthur Park is it was a remake of a song done by Richard Harris, the actor. And Richard, and the original version of it is 7 minutes long. Now, back in the 1960s, 3 minutes. That was 2.5, 3 minutes. That's all the singles were normally. And the Beatles' Hey Jude broke that mold, and Richard Harris, MacArthur Park. The problem was when you'd play that song, because as I said, top 40 radio stations were very, very regimented. And they would play, a song, or maybe 2 songs, and then commercials. 2 songs, commercials. Well, Richard Harris, you're playing 1 song because of the length. Or Hey Jude, you're playing 1 song. Or Dylan's, Like a Rolling Stone, 1 song. That's it.
You've already successfully conquered the challenge. There are 3 other songs that were in the top 10 that we haven't yet talked about. There was one from 1979. It was the only major hit single that she wrote entirely by herself.
Yeah, and that's the song I was talking about, and I'm drawing a blank on it. That was the song that made her leave Casablanca Records because they didn't promote it completely. They kind of killed the momentum on it when they rushed out No More Tears, Enough is Enough.
It has to do with turning down something, turning it down, lessening the brightness.
Dim All the Lights.
Dim All the Lights from 1979. This is like we're playing Pictionary or something.
So sometimes, Phil, I've got to take a picture of my desk because you've got to see, I've got nothing in front of me. I have no.
I know.
I have no. I'm trying to be honest in how I do this.
Oh, you are. Yeah, you are.
Leaning
And I
in,
can't. I
leaning in
can't
to
tell
get
you.
serious.
I can't tell you how many people are absolutely amazed with what you come up with off the top of your head. And
Yeah, I can remember
obviously,
these.
I've got
I
notes.
can
I'm
remember
looking
these
up.
obscure songs from the 60s and 70s. Can't remember why I walked into the kitchen.
Or, yeah, I got a similar situation. All right, here's one that I very much remember. It peaked at number five, Trip, back in 1980. It was written for the soundtrack of a movie that starred Jodie Foster. Where can people hear you during the day?
Q105.3 WRHQ.
Keep going. Which is located where? Not in Savannah, but on the
On the radio. On the radio.
on the radio. Peaked at number five in 1980. Another one that I also vividly recall. This was from 1977. Peaked at number six. It's noteworthy because it was one of the very first tracks to use an entirely electronic backing track.
Should mention the producer for those early Donna Summer songs was Giorgio Moroder. And if you're a music aficionado, you know Giorgio Moroder, very, very big into synthesizer and electronic.
This song from 1977, peaked at number six, is called "I Feel Love."
I Feel Love.
That's got one of those earworm kind of lyrics to it, and that is it. That are all the 14 songs by Donna Summer that peaked in the top 10. I'm going to digress just for a second. Not all disco related artists had any success post disco era, but a few people did. Can you think of some names of some artists that did successfully make the transition post disco other than Donna Summer?
The Bee Gees sort of did. And if there was another great documentary on the Beatles, the Bee Gees on HBO Max, or I guess it's now HBO. Let's take out the Max. It's HBO. And one of the things they talked about was their records, because they were so associated with disco, they went to producing and songwriting. And they produced, Barry Gibb produced Barbra Streisand's Guilty. They produced Dionne Warwick's Heartbreaker. They did all that. They worked with a number of artists, and then finally they were able to get back into the top 10 in the 90s. But it took a while for them to really get them. KC had a couple of hits from KC and the Sunshine Band. Well, Lionel Richie and the Commodores, they were considered they weren't really, they were more soul than disco, but that's another group that kind of transitioned in the 80s.
And you mentioned Lionel Richie. He had the duet with Diana Ross.
Diana Ross, Endless Love. The list of artists who were disco, with air quotes, that list is very, very short. There aren't a lot of people who transitioned. Michael Jackson, I guess Michael Jackson, because again, he did Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, and that was a huge disco song. And Michael, I think, would be somebody who people thought disco was. That he transitioned, but the list is not very long.
Tripp, that's really the reason I brought it up. That really emphasizes how impressive it was that Donna Summer was able to score some, top charting Hot 100 hits well into the 80s. In fact, all the way up to 1989.
Donna Summer also at that time was going through the classic. She wanted to have a family. She had met Bruce, the love of her life. She wanted to have a family. She had a family. That was more important to her because her childhood was not the best. I think she was raised by a single mother, and it was a tough childhood. And she wanted to give her kids everything that she didn't have, which is, I mean, again, as a parent, you are shaped by your what happens as a child, and I will readily admit I was the same way. And one of the things I think I'm most proud of as a parent was my relationship with my daughter. In some ways, got better after her mom and I had separated and got divorced. And Donna Summer, I mean, she wanted her kids to be happy.
Tripp, you were able to successfully beat this challenge. I'm curious how the listeners did. Let us know in the comments section. And of course, you have been listening to Tripp Rogers and Phil Yale. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Check the show description for the links to follow Tripp, including WRHQ.com. That's 105.3 FM in Savannah, Georgia, and internet radio, WTRSradio.com. Tripp also appears on Phil's Tracks as a docu-discography series and as a guest curator on Mystery Pack Jukebox that you can find on this channel of YouTube, along with some other 60s and 70s pop music related videos. Tripp, thanks again for joining us and accepting the challenge on Trippin' Up.
Always a pleasure, Phil. Always a pleasure.